and New Guinea service demand increases in the Pacific. Community Development Department moves to address children's welfare. Dr. Yala says cooperation vital for bilateral ties.
This is NBC Papua New Guinea National News.
Good evening, I'm Jerry Tave. There's been growing interest in the Pacific region for national flag carrier Air New Guinea to expand its services in the region. Air New Guinea currently services MSG countries and recently made its maiden flight to the Federated States of Micronesia. The flag carrier services was among other issues raised with Prime Minister Peter O'Neill during the 47th Pacific Islands Forum in Phnom Penh. Gabriel Bago reports.
The demand for Air New Guinea's service in the Pacific region is growing. It shows the leading role played by the PNG government in spearheading the Pacific regionalism framework. The government's move to be in touch with the small island countries is creating opportunities for more engagement, not only people to people, but trade and investment and services. At the 47th Pacific Islands Forum in the Federated States of Micronesia, interest and offers have been made to Prime Minister Peter O'Neill for Air New Guinea's service to other small island states in the region. Mr. O'Neill said Air New Guinea is expanding its services, however, upon air services agreements with respective island states. The recent service was to the Federated States of Micronesia. An agreement has also been made with the Palau government. Mr. O'Neill said the flag carrier is currently increasing its fleet to support its expansion both in the region and abroad. Gabriel Bego, NBC National News, Port Moresby.
Engagement with major trading partners in the world is important to raise issues affecting island nations in the Pacific region. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, speaking as the outgoing chair of the Pacific Islands Forum, highlighted this at the 47th PIF Forum in the Federated States of Micronesia. He said such engagement will strengthen to bring concerns of the island states to the global economies. Mr. O'Neill also highlighted the importance of Pacific Island nations' involvement in the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Leaders Summit in Port Moresby in 2018.
We also need to, as a region, continue to engage as a group with our multilateral discussions, particularly our trading partners. Over the last year, we have held discussions with Japan, China, India, and last week we held discussions with the United States. These engagements give us collective strength to bring consent to our larger global economies. And through this engagement, we are able to better realize our collective vision for the region. We need to continue to expand on this. Of course, in 2018, Papua New Guinea will host the APEC meeting in Port Moresby. This will be up to 200 separate meetings before concluding with the APEC Leaders Summit in November 2018. Papua New Guinea wishes this APEC meeting to be a Pacific APEC, that it gives us an opportunity to engage in with the larger economies in our region so that they can be aware of our concerns and the decisions, policy decisions that they make that affect our communities. Of course, the issues about climate change, other development challenges, and of course, development of a sustainable development of our marine resources as things that will be highlighted at that APEC meeting. Papua New Guinea will invite all Pacific Island nations to participate in November 2018. Our collective view to the APEC leaders must be our top priority. We must use every opportunity to put our concerns that affect our communities across to the global stage at one given time.
The government is serious in addressing the welfare of children in PNG, and it's taken various reforms in doing so through the Department of Community Development. Secretary Anna Solomon says the country has come a long way in making sure children's issues are addressed. Mr. Solomon acknowledged that there are many challenges still ahead. Bradley Gregory with this report.
The sexual abuse and exploitation of children is one of the most vicious crimes conceivable, a violation of mankind's most basic duty to protect the innocent. The words of James T. Welsh. But it's not the only exploitation children face in the world. Children's needs and rights vary much. Violation of children's liberty may even be the denial of access to basic goods and services. The government in PNG has identified this and has taken several steps in addressing this. Firstly, through the free education and free healthcare policy. However, that's not all. It's put in law the Lookout in Pikinini Act.
We've come a long way in terms of child protection, and the last 3 years has seen a lot of legislative reviews. Not just surrounding children, but families as a whole. Because we believe that if we don't amend many of these colonial laws, our children will still be affected.
Secretary Anna Solomon further highlights that in addressing children's issues, all factors have to be considered. That means to even addressing children's issues within individual families.
We are discussing family as a whole. We cannot limit discussing child protection without trying to take note of what is happening in a family. The Marriage Act and the Matrimonial Causes Act, which is they're both very colonial laws, they were also amended. They have been passed by NEC. They're waiting for Parliament to present this coming November.
Various family laws will be reenacted, aligning children's focus to the family. Bradley Gregory, NBC National News, Port Moresby.
Bilateral ties with other countries can only work out if there is cooperation within all partners. National Research Institute Director Charles Yala said this after it was revealed that some projects under the PNG Korea bilateral arrangements have been cancelled because of no cooperation from the parties. Esther Balinwani reports.
Being the host of the Korea PNG Dialogue Forum, Dr. Charles Yala said Korea is one of the countries that PNG can work with. Dr. Yala said the barrier in achieving development in PNG is caused by men.
Cultural or the natural constraints to PNG are not barriers. For me, the real barriers and the problems are the man-made problems, the man-made constraints, the broken system of government.
He said being a potentially rich country, all levels of the government must cooperate.
We continue to have broken systems and processes in our government systems that ultimately kill investment and business and make us poor in what is potentially a rich country.
Dr. Yala said it is a competitive world and PNG must grasp these opportunities. Esther Berlinwani, NBC National News, Port Moresby.
A pilot planning workshop on oil palm development in Kokopo, East New Britain Province has been constructive with attendance from over 60 participants from the industry. The workshop was organized by the Nature Conservancy with partners PNG Conservation and Environment Protection Authority and the Australian Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organisation. Mapun Pidian reports from Kokopo.
Nate Peterson from the Nature Conservancy says the workshop is part of the Building Capacity for Sustainable and Responsible Development in the Bismarck Sea, a 2-year project funded by the Australian government. East New Britain had identified oil palm development and fisheries as areas they needed help in. Hence, the first workshop focused on oil palm, while the second workshop will cover fisheries. Based on 2 case studies in Sinivit and East Pomio LLGs of Pomio District, where major oil palm developments are taking place, Mr. Peterson says there were similar comments made regarding visions for the LLGs in the next 30 to 40 years.
The main thing that they were all trying to see as a future for those LLGs was an increase in economic development. Of course, the communities are hungry and in dire need, I suppose, for economic development, so that people can have more improved income and better schooling, more opportunities, better health services, and these types of things. So how do you get that stuff? And oil palm is one piece of the solution. There's other resources that can be developed, be it cocoa or coffee or tourism. It really kind of comes down to information sharing, and where some of the more advanced groups, be it the industry or maybe the national government, has access to this information about maps and planning processes and systems that they have to go through. Oftentimes the LLGs and then the landowners especially don't have that access. They don't know how these decisions are being made. So there comes back to the focus and the title of the project is about developing capacity for better decision making. One of the main things our project is trying to do is develop some networks and break down some of those barriers to improve information sharing and knowledge about the systems that are required and the processes that are required and the resources that are available for them.
Participants applauded the workshop, which for the first time brought all players in the oil palm industry together in a forum to discuss issues and look at ways of proper planning and governance of oil palm development in the province. Mapun PDN, NBC National News, Kokopo.
After the break, concerns raised over child abuse offenders getting away without proper prosecutions, and youths host dinner to raise funds for the rally. Stay with us on NBC National News.